$1 sir. If it's $1 trillion, correct me. But if it's $1 billion company by itself, Chennai Super Kings, as all of you would be dearly cheering for in 10 days' time. That team had launched its first ever attempt to building a squad. And in 2008, I was playing a game between India Cements and Jolly Rovers, Chemplast. I turned up for Chemplast and I picked up 6 wickets that particular day and went back home with a man of the match trophy. But what had ensued was I had given auditions to several teams, tried to make phone calls to understand if there was a talent hunt. There were no auctions at that point of time. And like I said, people just turn up and push you to the next level. Mr. Krishnamachari Srikanth was the chief guest on that night. He picked up the mic and I said, "Dey Ashwin, paatanda, sammaya bowling pottada, ani eppodume solluvanda, ani nee da best nu solluvanda, yarume illa, kalakanum seriya, Chennai Super Kings ku poi pinninno, Muthaiya Muralidharan kitta irundhu ella juicy urinjinno." And I was famished because I wasn't in the team. And then he turned left towards Kasi and said, "Enna Kasi, edukaliya?" And that particular line and the fact that Kasi sir was standing at that podium changed my life altogether. I received a contract from Chennai Super Kings the very next day. You just don't know how funny life is. People can push you onto different perimeters and different levels. And 2008, I went into the dressing room, met all the greats, Matthew Hayden, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I mean, I had very little words. I didn't win an argument because I didn't try to have one. But I had sat through 2008, and somewhere in that particular season, I was a no one then. I mean, where am I to play in a team that had Muthaiya Muralidharan? Mr. N. Srinivasan then was an office bearer in the BCCI. If I'm not wrong, sir, you might have been the treasurer or the secretary. I think he was the treasurer. So Mahendra Singh Dhoni was walking back from a press conference, who I wish to thank very deeply. I would be indebted for the rest of my life to Mahendra Singh Dhoni for what he gave me. He gave me an opportunity with the new ball to go head on against Chris Gayle, to probably know 17 years later that Anil Bhai would be talking about that particular episode. And I'm truly grateful for that. He was walking back with his usual, people around him. There were a lot of people. I'm not sure Dr. Baba was still hanging around. He might have not been there. He was not the media manager then. He was coming back and I was catching balls that Jacob Oram was tonking from the center of the pitch. I was catching it with the mitt. I'd never seen a baseball mitt till then. So I thought I'll catch it with it. It was relatively easy than catching with 2 hands. And Mr. Srinivasan out of nowhere jumped out. He was wearing this, I think he was wearing one of these overcoats, and he just walked in. He said, MS, that's how he addressed him at that point of time. And he looked at him and he said, there is a boy called Ashwin. He bowls off spin and he is very good for Tamil Nadu. I think you should have a look at him. And he looked at sir and said, "Yes, sir, I will look at him." The conversation ended. But I still very, very clearly remember that moment and several other moments from there on. He called me in 2013 and said, "They wanted to drop you, but I put my foot down and said, he was the player of the series in the last series. We need to continue with him. If you want, play 2 off spinners." And that was my first game of having played with Harbhajan Singh in this wonderful ground. I played head-on with him in a test match, knowing what it stood for me. And several years later, he recalls every one of those moments. I'm just astonished at the kind of memory he still holds with himself.